Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Now, of course, if you haven't watched part 1, go watch part 1, which you can find in the link at the end. Or you can just leave this video and go check it out now. Now, as you would have seen in part 1, it was all a collection of the materials that we'll be using to make Styrofoam gun. Now, in this video, I'll be teaching you how to make the Halo 3 assault rifle. Now, this is one I did a good couple of months ago, and before I had made this gun, I did not know how to sand. So this gun is still remaining quite edgy and does not have the nice smooth corners like majority of my guns do now. So the first thing we're going to do is using a picture online. You need multiple views, so you want a side view, you want a perspective, and you want a front, just so you can see all the details that you'll need to create this gun. Now, if you go to my Facebook fan page, you'll actually find blueprints which I have made for you guys, as well as full-on measurements to help you guide through this tutorial. Now, with those measurements, you're going to need like an A1 size paper, or you can just do what I have done because I'm cheap, is stack multiple A4 pages together to get an outline. Now, using this outline, you will then trace over this onto your Styrofoam block. Now, with your Styrofoam block, you will need one that can fit in with this paper. If you have one that's tinier, then you're going to have a giant hole in your gun. Now, lucky enough, I have just enough remaining from all the guns that I've been creating, so I can fit it in here. So what I'm going to do is kind of just stick this on a bit, just with masking tape on the edges, and then get my craft knife and just go along these edges. Once you've done the whole gun, it will leave the craft knife marks indented in the Styrofoam, which we will then cut out on an angle. So I'll show you guys that now. Alright, now that we've cut it out, or made the outlines, you'll now see that you've got all these indents and lines in it, which now you can use as the base lines to actually cut out your gun. Now, as we're going to cut this out, we're not going to cut straight down on a 90-degree angle, because that means you won't have any room to work with if you do need to sand it or you make a mistake. Always cut on an outward angle, maybe just under 45 degrees, just so we have the extra room to work with. Right here, guys, now that we've cut out our Styrofoam block, just make sure you've gone around and just made all the edges flat. So now they're all lying on a horizontal angle, not off on weird degrees, which you did when you cut it. So once we've got our block, now we're going to use the images that either I've provided on my Facebook fan page, or you can actually go get your own from Google Images. But either way, you'll need to just get one that has the detail in the middle of the gun. So all this information here, all these lines, all these crevices, so you know where you're going to have to draw them in so you can end up cutting them out. Now, when you're doing this, you want to have them pretty much identical on both sides. This is the hard part about cutting and carving with foam, is that you can't actually see the other side unless you turn it, so you kind of have to make rough estimates. So print off a picture. I'm just going to be using my assault rifle, as I can't be bothered printing off another sheet. But it's pretty much exactly the same. So I'll be using these as guidelines, and you'll be using your pictures. Alright guys, so what you're going to need for this part is just pretty much a ruler, preferably one that is transparent. Transparent meaning see-through. If you use a metal ruler, you won't be able to see exactly where other lines are, so if I were to draw a line here, I can still see where it is so I can measure it up. So make sure you're able to see through. You don't need a long one, even just a 15 centimeter one, but I suppose 30 centimeters is perfect. A highlighter, try use a yellow one. We don't want to use a green one because we don't really want these lines standing out too much. When you're applying the ink, or whatever you call it, to the actual foam, don't press too hard because we don't want to leave an actual line that will show up when we paint. So we're just going to do a nice kind of dab, just enough to see it. Now it will sink in a bit, but you will be able to see it. So pretty much in the end, we're going to have an assault rifle that looks like this with all these carvings on it. So we want to have your picture laying out here. I've got my assault rifle, but you'll have your picture. And you're going to see where all these individual parts are, all these points, and you can see on here where they shoot equivalent to. This will take a bit of time. Don't rush this, trust me. You want to make sure the lines you draw are the ones you want to actually have in the end. You don't want to have to draw multiple lines and then find out you got a horrible dent line right there. So pretty much, in the end, it's going to turn out from looking like this to that. So this is the side I did earlier, just so I could show you. So I've gone and looked at all these measurements, not so much the measurements, but more of just the locations of where each individual part is, and I've gone and cut them out and put them on. But we'll get into the beginning stages of actually drawing it on. So I'll now do it in a time lapse so you can actually see.